I see some of my patients who have been diagnosed with false arterial hypertension. Why? The first point I'd like to start with. So, you get up early in the morning and immediately grab the blood pressure monitor, put on the cuff, measure your blood pressure, it's high, then you check again an hour later, then 2 hours later. Some of my patients measure their blood pressure almost every hour. They sit there, figuratively speaking, surrounded by pillows. The blood pressure monitor is on their arm. And they keep pressing, pushing the buttons depending on what kind of monitor they have, automatic or semi-automatic. And then they anxiously wait thinking, now again, I'm having a hypertensive crisis. You rush to the doctor, go in to see him, he measures your blood pressure, and of course it will be high again, the so-called white coat hypertension. Because at that moment you are experiencing stress. Not a single patient has ever come to the doctor with complaints and anxiety and had normal blood pressure at that moment. This is the classic white coat effect. And when they say, let's have you calm down, and then we'll measure your blood pressure. But where are you supposed to calm down? In the hallway, where there are other patients? In the doctor's office, where the doctor doesn't have time to talk to you? No. But let's get back to the topic. Why shouldn't you measure your blood pressure early in the morning, right after you open your eyes? The fact is, our circadian rhythms follow certain laws. In an ideal and perfectly healthy situation, when a person is in good physical condition, their blood pressure naturally drops during the night. Their heart rate significantly slows down, and we can clearly see the following physiological picture. Now let's begin by looking closely at the blood pressure reading. Well, let's break it down. This is the dark night, this is the early morning, and this is the bright day. During the late night hours, your blood pressure is typically at its lowest point, and then by the early morning, it gradually starts to rise again. Why does it rise? Why exactly is your blood pressure so significantly high during these very early morning hours of the day? The thing is, let's look at a very important point, or rather a very important hormone. That hormone is cortisol. Cortisol is low at night, but by morning it starts to rise. Please take a look. You can see that there is a certain correlation between cortisol levels and blood pressure levels. That is, when we wake up, at that moment our body is preparing for action, and in the following hours, by the way, blood pressure then levels out and becomes like this. It's the same case with the stress hormone cortisol, which can fluctuate throughout the day. And we have a separate video on this topic where I explain why you shouldn't measure cortisol levels, since they are highly variable. Right now, at this moment in my life, while we're filming, my cortisol level is elevated. That's normal. I'm speaking excitedly, waving my hands, mobilizing my body, and in order for it to stay, as they say, in good shape, I need a higher level of cortisol. But as soon as I sit down in a chair, have some tea, and relax, it will start to drop. But at night, when we talk about circadian rhythms, we see that normal blood pressure readings. Actually, let me put it this way. This is probably how it should be. This is how it should be. Normally it's low, and when you wake up from sleep, let me repeat, when you wake up, the first hour or two, your blood pressure is quite high. How high is it? 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury. But for some of you, that's enough to already start feeling anxious. Here comes another spike in my blood pressure. And anxiety leads to the fact that your blood pressure may not go down and can stay at these high levels. And now you're already experiencing side effects from these antihypertensive medications. And now you're already rushing to the cardiologist with this printout saying that your blood pressure readings are high. But in reality, if you had measured your blood pressure an hour later, you would have been surprised to find that it was within normal limits. What are the rules for measuring blood pressure? So, you wake up, go to the bathroom, wash up, you don't smoke, you don't drink coffee, you haven't had breakfast yet, but about an hour has already passed since you woke up. This is probably the golden time, about an hour after waking up, when you can check your blood pressure. But you should do this while sitting without strapping yourself to the chair. Not like this, pressing it while still anxious. No. You should sit calmly, and then 3 times at 5-minute intervals, you calmly measure your blood pressure on one arm. Well, for the first blood pressure measurement, I would recommend checking the other arm as well, right? Because there might be a difference, but after that, you only measure on one arm. The arm should be bare. Next, you get the readings. Well, for example, like this. For the initial reading, the first measurement is recorded as 130/95. And then for the following reading, the second measurement is 135/90. Then you sit for another 5 minutes. The blood pressure is 115/75. Which one should you choose? None of them. By taking the time to calculate the arithmetic mean, you will successfully obtain the very average blood pressure reading you are looking for, which will then be considered a perfectly normal result. So it is not the highest possible reading, nor is it the lowest possible reading. Instead, the precise arithmetic mean pressure is what is being measured and recorded as the standard baseline. And it's no coincidence that the phone rang. You can record the results of your blood pressure measurements in a special diary. There are a lot of these diaries which allow you to show your numbers to your doctor, not just on a piece of paper, but on your phone, where you can check your blood pressure readings from the morning and evening. You can also measure your blood pressure in the evening. In general, it is recommended, if you are concerned about this issue, to measure your blood pressure twice. Not every hour, but twice in the morning and in the evening, with the evening measurement before dinner. Do not measure your blood pressure after a workout or physical activity, as you will inevitably get inflated results. Do not measure it while standing or lying down either. That is also incorrect. You should be seated in a calm position with your bare arm, measure 3 times, take the arithmetic average, and record it in your blood pressure diary. These are the simple rules for measuring blood pressure that you should follow, and then you will avoid so-called false arterial hypertension. And yes, here comes a comment from our skeptical haters. Or rather, not just skeptical, but spiteful haters. How much time do I actually have to spend measuring my blood pressure? Yes, a quarter of an hour, 15 minutes at the right time, before breakfast, before physical activity, but after waking up. Because blood pressure is one of the most important indicators of your health. Please, take care of yourself. Monitor your blood pressure, and I hope it will always be in perfect order.